Alright, strap yourselves in yet again, folks, because today we're diving headfirst into a weird little corner of humanity. The alcohol-free beer festival. Yeah, a beer festival with no beer. Like a party where someone forgot the point. Sounds ridiculous, right? And that's exactly why I'm here.
It's Monday, don't groan, don't fear. The bearded beer blot bloke is here. Talking nonsense, beard on show. Grab a brew and watch him go.
So what even is this? Well, apparently it's a place you can have the vibes of a beer festival without the regret, the hangovers, or the questionable life choices that come with traditional beer. People come for the social side, the culture and the taste, but none of the actual alcohol, which to me is like going to a concert and someone saying, no guitars today, just air guitars. For me, the expectations would be fairly low, like basement level, unpaid intern cleaning toilets low. Yet the first thing that you probably notice is the people are genuinely happy. They're alert, they're standing upright and they're breathing, possibly even enjoying themselves. That sounds terrifying. I've been to beer festivals where after the first 10 minutes people are like zombies, but at these festivals everyone's fine? Suspiciously fine. Of course, normally beer festivals smell like sweat, regret and stale beer, but at these festivals, clean air, fresh-ish, and it's like someone kind of vacuumed the fun out and replaced it with, well, nothing. It's kind of disturbing, right? And then you've got the beers themselves. Yes, there are pints, IPAs, stouts, lagers, all 0% alcohol, which is impressive in theory and slightly offensive in practice. But they try. Some of them actually vaguely taste like beer. Others taste like someone microwaved sadness in a can and added some carbonation. Either way, you'll sip, you'll think, you'll question everything about life and your decision making. But here's the twist. People are into it. They're laughing, chatting, socialising, alert, present, remembering names. It's almost wholesome. And I hate it because it's proving something. You can have a social beer festival experience without the alcohol. The audacity of humanity! The takeaway for your arrival. Weirdly organised, suspiciously happy people, fizzy beverages pretending to be beer, and you standing there questioning the nature of fun. But in a good way, maybe, possibly, we'll see. Alright, so let's talk about the big question about this. Why on earth does an alcohol-free beer festival even exist? I mean, think about it. Beer festivals are supposed to be chaos. Questionable decisions, sticky floors, and that vaguely illegal thrill of drinking too much before lunchtime. And now this exists. Zero chaos, zero illegality, zero hangover? Something is deeply wrong with the universe. Apparently it's part of the whole sober curious thing. People want the social side of drinking without the part that makes you cry in the toilets at 3 AM. And honestly, I respect it. Mostly confused about it, but I respect it. The festival organisers pitch it as the future of social drinking. They promise craft beers, community vibes, live music, and safe fun. Safe fun. Safe fun? At a beer festival. I'm lost. And honestly, when you're there, it sort of works. People are laughing, they're talking, actually remembering each other's names, nobody throwing up, nobody stealing your chips, nobody's... well, you get the point. It's wholesome, which I'll admit messes with my worldview, because I've built this whole blog on chaos and questionable decisions. And now I'm watching adults enjoy themselves with bubbles. Carbonated fun. I might need therapy after this. And then we've got the beers themselves. The big challenge. Can they mimic real beer culture? IPAs, stouts, everything without the alcohol. The festival turns into a kind of taste experiment, I guess. Social ritual meets science project. And weirdly, it works. But other times, it's like despair fizzed up with hope. But more than the drinks, it's about why people go. You'll overhear conversations like, I love beer culture, but I don't want to feel terrible tomorrow. I like the taste of hops, but not the regret. And my personal favourite, I want to try something new, but still be able to walk home. It's like a beer festival for adults who secretly enjoy fun, but also value basic motor control. And you can't help but wonder, is this the next big thing in nightlife, or just an elaborate excuse to sell £6 fizzy water with branding? And here's the best part. Nobody is pretending to be tipsy. Everyone is soberly tipsy on life, I guess? It's confusing, delightful, slightly terrifying, and maybe revolutionary. I mean, it's definitely less tragic than a traditional beer festival, that is for sure. So the takeaway so far, alcohol-free beer festivals are weirdly pleasant, socially clever maybe. You may or may not feel slightly judged for enjoying watching happy, sober people behave like human beings. I hate it, but I also love it. Alright, so you're there, you've sipped, you've ranted about it being alcohol-free. Now it's time to get existential about it. And I mean full on, staring at the ceiling, too much caffeine existential about alcohol-free beer festivals. The first thing you'll notice, and I mean within the first 5 minutes of walking in, is that these festivals are inclusive. People who don't drink, people who can't drink, people who just don't want a hangover. They all exist here without judgment. And as chaotic as my brain is, I kind of admire that, even if it makes me slightly jealous of their self-control. But let's be honest, the whole concept is a little bit ridiculous. Imagining the marketing meeting. We'll do a beer festival, but none of the beer will, work. And somehow they sold it. People showed up. People paid money. People are smiling. The world is a confusing place at times. And there's a philosophy to it. They call it mindful socializing. You connect without the alcohol crutch. You remember names, faces, even your own dignity. And honestly, and I hate to admit this, but it's kind of brilliant. In a weird, slightly soul-crushing way though. So would I recommend it? Well, it depends on your goals. Do you want a traditional festival chaos experience? No? Want to experiment with the sober curious life while tasting fancy fizzy stuff? Absolutely. Want to pay £8 for bubbles and feel vaguely fancy? Definitely. Want to feel confused, slightly envious, but mostly entertained? Bingo! So the pros of the whole thing then. No hangover, actually a good social interaction, and the beers, or sadness in the can sometimes, are sometimes surprisingly decent. The cons, price, the lack of chaos, and occasionally feeling like a spectator in a universe of responsible adults. But personally, this made me think about my drinking habits and about socialising, about why we romanticise chaos and regret. And it's weirdly enlightening in a I can't believe I paid to reflect on life with a can of fizzy sadness way. So the final verdict, if you're sober curious about the AF movement, or just want a weirdly wholesome day out without a hangover, go. If you're chasing the chaotic, sticky, alcohol-fueled traditional beer festival experience, maybe skip it. Or bring your own chaos. So that's it. Beyond the buzz, beyond the hangovers, beyond the idea that beer festivals require beer to be fun. Alcohol-free beer festivals are confusing, sometimes good, occasionally sad, but mostly memorable. And isn't that what life is all about? Anyway, ramble done. Go forth and multiply and try an AF festival if you dare. Question your life choices if you must. And remember, a pint is a pint, even if it's just pretending. Cheers to bubbles, cheers to chaos, and cheers to weird experiences. And remember, if I survived one of these, you can too.